Good morning. Okay, so today we'll discuss viscera of liver and gallbladder. Okay, so first we are going to the shape of liver. See this dotted line. This line represents the position of the liver. Okay, so the liver is a wedge-shaped organ with broad base directed to the right. This is the base directed towards the right, and it is four-sided pyramidal structure. Okay. What is the color? It is reddish brown in color, solid and friable to touch. What is the location? It occupies the whole of the right hypochondrium. Here is the hypochondrium, occupies the whole of right hypochondrium, greater part of the epigastrium. This part is epigastrium. There are 9 regions in the abdomen. You know the 9 regions? Okay, so it occupies the right hypochondrium, epigastrium, and some part is extended into right lumbar. Okay, up to the left lateral mid-clavicular line, up to here, left lateral mid-clavicular line is the extent. It lies mostly under cover of the ribs and costal cartilages and immediately below the diaphragm, and it extends under the rib cage higher up to the fifth rib anteriorly on the right side below the right nipple, and the left fifth intercostal space anteriorly on the left side below and medial to the left nipple. And in the midline, the upper border lies at the level of G-sternal joint here. Upper border lies near the G-sternal joint, and the sharp inferior border crosses the midline at the level of transpyloric plane, that is at the level of L1 vertebra. Okay, here this is transpyloric plane, inferior border passes through this transpyloric plane. So the proportional weight of the liver is more in children. Okay, it occupies about 1/18 of the body weight, and then the adult. In adult occupies about 1/36 of the body weight, and this is because of hematopoietic function of liver in the fetal life. In fetal life, blood cells are developing in the liver. That's why it occupies almost 1/18 of the body weight. And liver is called heper. Heper in the hepatic term coming from the Greek word heper. Hence, many structure related to liver are termed as hepatic. Okay. Now we are going to the external feature. Its borders, surfaces, lobes like this. Okay. Presenting parts means you have to tell all this. It has this borders, this surfaces, this many lobes. So it has this following features. It has 5 surfaces: anterior, posterior, superior, inferior, right. Okay, superior, inferior. Here is the anterior, posterior, and the right lateral. These are the surfaces. An inferior surface is also known as visceral surface because it is coming in relation to a number of viscerals. Okay, and it has only one sharp border, that is inferior border. This border is inferior border separating the anterior surface, right lateral surface from this visceral surface. And there are lobes. Anatomical lobes are right lobe and left lobe, caudate lobe and quadrate lobe. These are 4 main lobes in the liver. Liver, everyone will be given liver in viscera table. Okay, so you must read liver before going to viscera table. So these are the factors keeping the liver in position. This is asked in your viva. Okay. So hepatic veins. These are major factors that open into the inferior vena cava, and this keeps the liver in position. Also the intra-abdominal pressure and the ligaments of the liver, these are less important structures for keeping the liver in position. Liver is essential for life. Even surgical removal of 2/3 of liver is compatible with life. It has high regeneration capacity. Okay. There is a mythological story in Greek. Okay. a person was kept, abdomen was kept open, liver was outside. Every day birds would come and eat up the liver. But next day liver again regenerates. Okay, so it has a high regeneration capacity. You must remember. You can remove almost two-thirds of the liver and it can regenerate to its original shape. So next we are going to the anatomical position. This is very, very important. So hold the liver in such a way that groove for inferior vena cava on the posterior surface of liver should be vertically straight, and broad base of wedge-shaped liver is on the right side. So this is broad base directed towards the right side, and groove for inferior vena cava lies on the posterior surface. Okay, and it is vertically placed, and smooth concave or convex surface faces upward. Superior surface is convex on two sides and concave in the middle. Concave because of placement of the heart and the pericardium. Okay. Central tendon. Over the central tendon, heart and pericardium is lying. It has these five surfaces: anterior, posterior, superior, inferior, and right surface. An inferior surface is well defined and called the visceral surface. All other surfaces are ill defined and continuous with each other. Hence, they are together called the parietal surface of liver. In the pleura, you have got parietal pleura and visceral pleura. Here also, the surface coming in contact with viscera is the visceral surface, and rest all the surfaces together we are telling parietal surface. Okay, rest four surface. So we are going to each of the surfaces now. First, superior surface, it is quadrilateral. It is convex on the right and left with middle concavity as the cardiac impression. And superior surface is separated by the diaphragm from the lungs, heart and the pericardium. Next is anterior surface. It is triangular, divided into anatomical right and left lobes by the attachment of the falciform ligament. And these are the relations. Anterior surface is related to these following structures. First is the diaphragm, then 6th to 10th ribs on the right side, lower margin of right lung and the pleura, 7th and 8th left costal cartilages and the Gifford process. These are mainly related to the left lobe, okay, and rest over the right lobe. See here, this is the attachment of falciform ligament, okay, and at the lower margin of falciform ligament, this structure is the ligamentum teres hepatis, okay. This is obliterated left umbilical vein, okay. This is frequently asked how the ligamentum teres hepatis is formed, okay. So it is dividing the liver into anatomical right and left lobe. So this right part will be anatomical right lobe, this is anatomical left lobe. It is unequal dividing anatomical lobes, okay. So right lobe is forming almost 5/6 and left lobe is forming almost 1/6 of the liver. And this is gallbladder, fundus of the gallbladder. Here is the cystic notch over the inferior border where the gallbladder fossa is located, okay. And here also some notch formation occurs near the fissure for ligamentum teres hepatis. Here is the schematic diagram. Attachment of the peritoneum is here, forming the falciform ligament. Here at the lower margin of falciform ligament, ligamentum teres hepatis and some venules are there. And this is fundus of the gallbladder and cystic notch. So liver is the largest gland in our body, weighs about, weight is also asked in your viva, okay, 1.3 kg to 1.6 kg, more in weight in males, and it is wedge shaped, reddish brown in color, and it is a solid organ, okay. Also varies according to the body weight of the person, okay. What is the location? Location is right hypochondrium, epigastrium, left hypochondrium. External features, it has 5 surfaces: anterior, posterior, superior, inferior, right lateral, and a inferior border. And 4 lobes are there: right lobe, left lobe, caudate lobe, quadrate lobe. Okay. Caudate lobe is lying in the posterior surface, quadrate lobe in the inferior surface. Okay, we will discuss. So, and superior surface is quadrilateral, it has cardiac impression in the middle, concave part. Anterior surface is triangular, and you will identify it by attachment of falciform ligament. Posterior surface is also triangular, it has these following features: the bare area of the liver, groove for inferior vena cava. This from right to left. Okay, on the most right is the bare area, triangular bare area of the liver. Then you will get groove for inferior vena cava, then caudate lobe, then fissure for ligamentum venosum, and groove for esophagus. Right surface is smooth and convex, and inferior surface is the visceral surface. You will get this impression from left to right. Okay, below this esophageal impression you will get the gastric impression. Next is tuberomental. Tuberomental is a elevation over this surface, and it lies approximate to the tuberomental of the pancreas. Next is fissure for ligamentum teres, you have seen. Next is quadrate lobe, then fossa for gallbladder, and this impression on the right side. Duodenal impression, colic impression, renal impressions are present. Okay, so these are visceral impression over the inferior surface. So posterior surface is triangular. In the middle it is deeply concave for the vertebral column and shows these following features. First is the bare area. This is, everyone will be asked to identify the bare area. It will be asked important. Its boundaries are also very important. Okay, the bare area of the liver. Other bare areas are also present. You have to know all the bare areas, but the bare area you have to know the boundaries also. It is the part of the posterior surface of liver that comes in direct contact with the diaphragm, and portosystemic anastomosis was also occurring here in the bare area with hepatic radicals, hepatic sinusoidal radicals with the diaphragmatic veins. Okay. So these are the boundaries. It is a triangular area. It has a apex. Apex is formed by right triangular ligament. Base is formed by groove for inferior vena cava. Upper limit formed by superior layer of coronary ligament. Lower limit by inferior layer of coronary ligament. And the groove for inferior vena cava lodges the upper part of inferior vena cava, and the floor of the groove for the inferior vena cava is pierced by the hepatic veins. Okay. See here, this is the posterior surface. Here is the bare area. It is triangular in shape. This is the base formed by groove for inferior vena cava. Here is the apex formed by right triangular ligament. Superior boundary by superior layer of coronary ligament. Inferior boundary by inferior layer of coronary ligament. So this is the boundary of the bare area. Okay. And next, left to it is the groove for inferior vena cava. Then this lobe is the caudate lobe of the liver. Next, here will be the esophageal impression. Okay. Now, next there will be the fissure for ligamentum venosum, and most left will be the esophageal impression in this area. Okay. And here is another peritoneal reflection known as left triangular ligament. Okay, coronary ligament and triangular ligaments are peritoneal reflection, also the falciform ligament, and these are true ligament. Ligamentum venosum and ligamentum teres hepatis, these are true ligaments, and peritoneal reflections are called false ligaments of the liver. Okay, ligaments of liver can also come as a short note. Here is also, you have been shown the peritoneal reflection, the bare area, boundary, base, IVC groove, inferior vena cava groove, apex right triangular ligament, upper limit superior layer of coronary ligament, lower limit inferior layer of coronary ligament. Then there is groove for inferior vena cava, then caudate lobe, then fissure for ligamentum venosum, then here left triangular ligament and groove for esophagus. Okay, and this is the visceral surface. Here we will get other impression. So here is the esophageal impression. Below it, here will be the gastric impression. Okay, and in this area you will see a elevation, that is tuberomental. Okay, here is the quadrate lobe. Over the quadrate lobe, pyloric end of stomach and first part of duodenum is lying. Duodenal impression. Here is the colic impression in the lower part. Then there will be renal impression. Right, it comes in contact with the right kidney. Okay, and over the upper pole of right kidney in this area there is suprarenal impression. Suprarenal impression also reach up to this the bare area. Okay, so these are the visceral impression. This is fossa for gallbladder and this is fissure for ligamentum teres hepatis. These are features of the inferior surface. And gallbladder has different parts. This projecting part is the fundus. Here is the body. This part is neck. Okay, and then it is continues as the cystic duct. Cystic duct joined with common hepatic duct to form the common bile duct, which is passing through the right free margin of lesser omentum, then entering through the pancreas and draining into second part of duodenum. Okay, and this is porta hepatis. Here relations is DAV, from anterior to posterior. Okay, first is the duct, then arteries, and then the portal veins. Okay, hepatic ducts, then hepatic artery and portal veins. Both are dividing in, all the three are dividing into right and left divisions. Okay, so these lobes are also important. You will be asked the boundaries of these lobes. Caudate lobe, quadrate lobe, they have processes. Caudate lobe have processes also. So caudate lobe is also called Spigels lobe. Okay, named after this scientist anatomist. It is situated on the posterior surface of the liver. These are the boundaries. Bounded on the right side by the inferior vena cava. You can see here. This is caudate lobe, bounded on the right side by inferior vena cava, left side by fissure for ligamentum venosum. On the left, fissure for ligamentum venosum, superiorly continuous with the superior surface, inferiorly porta hepatis. Next is caudate process. Okay, next is the caudate process. Caudate lobe is connected with the right lobe of liver by the caudate process. Okay, and papillary process below and to the left. Caudate lobe presents a small rounded elevation called the papillary process. These are the relations. Anteriorly, there is superior attachment of lesser omentum. Posteriorly, related to the superior recess of lesser sac. Lesser sac is part of the peritoneal cavity, and right crus of the diaphragm, aortic opening, and the right phrenic artery. Next is fissure for ligamentum venosum. It is a deep fissure that lies between the caudate lobe and left lobe of the liver. And this is the content ligamentum venosum and layers of the lesser omentum. 4 layers of lesser omentum is lying here within the fissure for ligamentum venosum. Fissure for ligamentum venosum has 2 walls, anterior wall, posterior wall and floor. The walls are covered by the peritoneum and floor of this fissure contains the ligamentum venosum, which is a remnant of ductus venosus. Okay, ductus venosus was patent during the fetal circulation and it was taking part in circulation between the fetus and the placenta. Okay, and in fetal life, the ductus venosus connects the left branch of portal vein with the inferior vena cava and shunts the blood from the left umbilical vein to the inferior vena cava, bypassing the liver. Okay. Next is groove for esophagus. It is a shallow vertical groove forming the esophageal impression. Next is the right surface. Right surface is smooth, convex and covered by the peritoneum. These are the relations of the right lobe of liver. Right surface of liver is related to diaphragm and 7th to 11th ribs. The pleura, lung, pleura and costrodiaphragmatic recess intervene between the diaphragm and ribs on the right side. Upper part of right lobe is related to the lungs and pleura up to the 8th rib in the mid-axillary line, and middle part is related to costodiaphragmatic recess up to 10th rib, whereas lower part is related to the diaphragm alone. Next we are going to inferior or visceral surface. The inferior surface is directed downward, backward and to the left. It is separated from the anterior and right surfaces by the sharp inferior border. These are the features of the inferior surface. First is gastric impression. It is large, shallow. We have discussed the impressions in the picture. Now we will discuss the theory part. So gastric impression is large, shallow, concave fossa on the inferior surface of left lobe of the liver. Next is tuberomental. It is a rounded elevation on the inferior surface of left lobe between the gastric impression and fissure for ligamentum venosum, and it comes in contact with the lesser omentum. Next is fissure for ligamentum teres. It is a deep cleft that extends from inferior border to the left end of the porta hepatis, and the walls of this fissure are lined by peritoneum. The floor of fissure lodges the ligamentum teres hepatis, and that is the remnant of obliterated left umbilical vein. Next is quadrate lobe. It is situated on the inferior surface of lobar and it is rectangular in shape. Boundaries of the quadrate lobe is as follows: anteriorly bounded by inferior border of liver, posteriorly porta hepatis, on the right side fossa for gallbladder, on the left side fissure for ligamentum teres. Okay. Fossa for gallbladder. Next you will get the fossa for gallbladder. We are coming from left to right. Okay. So fossa for gallbladder lies to the right of the quadrate lobe, and it is non-peritoneal fossa, extends from cystic notch to the porta hepatis. Next there is these impressions: duodenal impression, colic impression, renal impression. The inferior surface shows shallow depression as these impressions. Okay. In fetal life, the left umbilical vein would bring oxygenated blood from placenta and transmit it to the inferior vena cava through the ductus venosus. Okay, this is the direction of blood flow from placenta to the inferior vena cava directly to the heart. Okay. Next, we are going to the border. Only one single border is important, the inferior border of liver. It is sharp and prominent border, separates the inferior surface from the anterior and right lateral surface. The features of inferior border: it is rounded laterally where it separates the right surface from the inferior surface. It is sharp and thin anteriorly where it separates the anterior surface from the inferior surface. It has two notches. One is cystic notch. It is located about 5 cm to the right of the median plane and lodges the fundus of the gallbladder. And notch for ligamentum teres, it is interlobular notch located just to the left of the median plane. Okay. See the inferior surface. This is inferior surface. Here is the gastric impression. Here this prominent part is the tuberomental. This fissure for ligamentum teres hepatis, quadrate lobe, fossa for gallbladder. Here is the duodenal impression, colic impression, renal impression and suprarenal impression. Okay. And this part is the posterior surface. Sometimes one posterior border is also described, that is lying between this visceral surface and the posterior surface. Okay, it is passing just above the gastric impression, then through the porta hepatis, lower margin of this vena cava groove, lower margin of the caudate lobe and lower margin of this fissure for ligamentum venosum, then along the lower part of the bare area. Okay, this border is called the posterior border. Okay, and this posterior border passes through the caudate lobe. It passes above the two processes of the caudate lobe. Here is the caudate process and here is the papillary process. So posterior border passes above this process but below the lobe. Okay, caudate lobe. This is caudate lobe, quadrate lobe. And these are the structure entering through the porta hepatis. You can see the two hepatic ducts joining to form the common hepatic duct. Common hepatic duct joining with the cystic duct coming from the gallbladder. And these are the hepatic artery branching into right and left branch. Okay, and from the right branch coming out this artery, this is cystic artery supplying the gallbladder. And here is another triangle is present, important triangle, Calot's triangle. Okay, this in during gallbladder surgery, this Calot's triangle is important. You have to tightly ligate this cystic artery to prevent bleeding in this area. Okay, and this is portal vein. So duct is most anterior. This is view from posterior aspect. Okay, so this is anterior to posterior. So D, A and V from anterior to posterior. Duct, artery and vein. Vein is portal vein. Vein you can identify, it has a large lumen and very thin wall. Okay, so these are the present. This is schematic diagram. You can practice if comes in your theory. You can practice a diagram like this. See, there is the gastric impression, tuber emmental, fissure for ligamentum teres hepatis, quadrate lobe, gallbladder fossa. Here is the uh, duodenal impression, colic impression, renal impression, suprarenal impression. Okay, here is the caudate lobe, the bare area. Okay, so we'll discuss the lobes in summarization. So caudate lobe is pisal lobe situated on posterior surface of liver. Boundaries are on the right side, inferior vena cava groove, to the left, fissure for ligamentum venosum, superiorly continuous with superior surface, inferiorly porta hepatis. Processes are caudate process and papillary process. Caudate process connects the right lobe and caudate lobe. Papillary process is rounded elevation on the inferior and left part of the caudate lobe. Next is quadrate lobe. It is situated on inferior surface of lobar, quadrangular in shape. These are the boundaries. Anteriorly bounded by inferior border of liver. Posteriorly, porta hepatis. On the right side, fossa for gallbladder, and on the left, fissure for ligamentum teres hepatis. Next, we are going to lobes of liver. This is also asked. Everyone will be asked about lobes of liver. Okay, how will you divide it anatomically, and how will you divide it physiologically? Also, Coinot's classifications are asked. Okay, Coinot's are important mainly for theory. These anatomical physiological lobes will be asked in your viva. Everyone, caudate and quadrate lobe you have to identify. So liver is divided into right and left lobe as follows. Anteriorly and superiorly by the attachment of falciform ligament. Inferiorly and posteriorly by the fissure for ligamentum teres and fissure for ligamentum venosum. This is anatomical division. So, and here the right lobe, it is 6 times larger than the left lobe. Okay, and it has two more lobes, caudate lobe and quadrate lobes. Here these are included within the right lobe here. Caudate lobe is situated on posterior surface of liver between the group for IVC and fissure for ligamentum venosum above the porta hepatis. And quadrate lobe is quadrangular in shape and it is situated on the inferior surface, lies between the fossa for gallbladder and fissure for ligamentum teres hepatis. It extends from inferior border of liver to the porta hepatis. Okay. Next is left lobe. It forms 1/6 of the liver and it is much smaller than the right lobe. It is flattened from above downward. And tuber omental is a rounded elevation on the inferior surface of left lobe of liver and that comes in contact with the lesser omentum. Next is physiological right and left lobes. The liver is divided into right and left physiological lobes based on the intrahepatic distribution of branch of bile duct, hepatic artery and portal vein. And this division is done by the Cantley's plane or Cantley's line. It is an imaginary line that divides the right and left physiological lobes of liver, and plane passes through fossa for gallbladder and groove for IVC and the cystic notch, and it is present anteriorly. This line is passing a little lateral, almost 2 to 3 centimeter to the right of the attachment of the falciform ligament, okay, to the right of falciform ligament. Physiological right and left lobes are approximately of equal size, and each physiological lobe is supplied by primary branch of hepatic artery and portal vein and drained by its own hepatic veins, okay. Physiological lobes are functional lobes of the liver, okay. So this line, this is Cantley's line anteriorly passing lateral towards the right of the attachment of falciform ligament, and posteriorly it is passing through fossa for gallbladder and groove for IVC and dividing the liver into two equal halves. So this is physiological right and left lobe. An anatomical right and left lobe division is done anteriorly by this attachment of falciform ligament and posteriorly by this fissure for ligamentum venosum, fissure for ligamentum teres apatis, okay. So these are the anatomical lobes divided by attachment of falciform ligament, fissure for ligamentum teres and ligamentum venosum. Here right lobe is 6 times larger, includes the caudate and quadrate lobe, and left lobe is smaller, shows temporomental. And physiological lobes divided by Cantley's plane, imaginary plane passes through fossa for gallbladder and groove for IVC and cystic notch, and it divides into right and left lobe. Right lobe equal size of left physiological lobe, and left lobe includes here the caudate and quadrate lobe, okay. Next we are going to hepatic segments. This is the Coynot's classification, okay. So Coynot's division of liver is based on functional anatomy, and he divided the liver into right and left physiological lobes and further into total 8 segments. Each lobe has 4 segments. So the right and left physiological lobes are divided by Cantley's plane, passes on anterosuperior surface along the line joining the cystic notch to groove for IVC. On the inferior surface, the plane passes through the fossa for gallbladder, and on the posterior surface, the plane passes through middle of the caudate lobe. Okay. And these lobes are divided into 8 segments according to the 42nd Gray. Left lobe is divided into these 1, 2, 3 and 4 segments. This is also important. Segment 1 includes the caudate lobe. Mainly caudate lobe and quadrate lobe is asked as a Coynot segments. Okay, this is important for your MCQ part. Okay, so caudate lobe is segment 1. Segment 2 is lateral superior. Segment 3 medial inferior, and segment 4 is medial superior. And right lobe is divided into these 4 segments. 5 is medial or anterior inferior, and 6 is lateral or posterior inferior, 7 is lateral or posterior superior, and 8th is the quadrate lobe. Okay. Here you can see the segments. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left physiological lobe is divided like this. 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay. Right one is divided like this. Okay, so gross anatomically or visually, there is no demarcation of segments of liver. Based on portal vein distribution, the liver is divided into right lateral, right medial, and left lateral segments. And each sector is subdivided into 2 segments based on vascular biliary Glisonian sheath. Okay, liver is covered by a shiny capsule that is known as Glison's capsule. Okay. Glison's capsule of liver condenses as Glisonian seeds around the branches of portal triad, and this is called Valoin seed. Okay, and there is some clinical aspects also. Segmental resection of liver. Anatomy of hepatic segment is not well defined, hence they are not useful for segmental resection of liver. Bronchopulmonary segment for lungs, that was important for segmental resection of the lung. Okay, but here it is not that much important because no specific divisions are there. And a large volume, even 80% of liver can be resected out safely because healthy hepatocytes have great reproductive capacity. Okay. Next we are going to the relations of the liver. Okay, peritoneal relations mainly. These are the bare areas. This is Astroenoviva. List the bare areas of the liver. So most of the liver is covered by the peritoneum, and the areas which are not covered by peritoneum are called bare areas. The first is, largest one is the bare area. Triangular area on posterior surface of right lobe of liver. Others are group 4 IVC. Located on posterior surface, lodges the upper part of IVC. Floor is pierced by hepatic veins. Next is fossa for gallbladder, lies on inferior surface of right lobe of liver, lodges the gallbladder. And floor of group 4 ligamentum venosum and the porta hepatis. All these are bare areas. Here this red colored marked area is the bare area. Okay. Here is the porta hepatis, floor of the fossa for ligamentum teres and floor of the fissure for ligamentum venosum. Gallbladder fossa, the bare area, group 4 inferior vena cava, and some part here on the left lobe. Okay, so these are the, in these areas peritoneum is absent. Here also, and you can see these are the tributaries, right, left and middle hepatic veins. There are 6 veins, superior group and inferior group. Okay. So here you can see this is vena cava group and hepatic veins are draining into the inferior vena cava directly. And this draining of veins keeps the liver in position. So bare areas of the liver is not covered by peritoneum. These are the areas. The bare area is triangular on posterior surface of liver. Others are group 4 IVC, fossa for gallbladder, floor of group 4 ligamentum venosum, porta hepatis. And these are the boundaries of the bare area. Apex is formed by right triangular ligament, base on the left side formed by group 4 IVC, superior layer of coronary ligament, inferiorly inferior layer of coronary ligament. And these are the ligaments of the liver. It is supported by false ligament and true ligaments. False ligaments are peritoneal reflections. True ligaments are these two. These are true ligaments are remnants of fetal structures, and they include the ligamentum teres hepatis, ligamentum venosum. And false ligaments includes folds of peritoneum. These are falciform ligament, coronary ligament, right and left triangular ligaments, and the lesser omentum. Okay. So these are the ligaments. This chart you must remember. True ligaments, what is the remnants, that is asked in your viva. Ligamentum teres hepatis is remnant of obliterated left umbilical vein. Ligamentum venosum is remnant of obliterated ductus venosus. And the false ligament, the extents have been written. First is falciform ligament. It is sickle shaped, connects the liver with the diaphragm and anterior abdominal wall. Coronary ligaments, it has superior and inferior layer, connects the bare area of liver with the diaphragm. And right triangular ligament connects the right lobe of liver to the diaphragm. Left triangular ligament connects left lobe of the liver to the diaphragm. And lesser omentum connects the fissure for ligamentum venosum and porta hepatis with the stomach. Lesser omentum, lesser curvature of the stomach. Okay. And these are the contents of the falciform ligament. Ligamentum teres hepatis at the lower margin, paraumbilical veins. Okay, these are tributary of the portal vein, An accessory portal system of SAPE is there, which communicates the paraumbilical vein with the diaphragmatic veins. Okay. So you have seen this picture. This ligament you can read in details. Okay, so these are the visceral relations of the liver. Okay, anterior surface. Anterior surface is related to xiphoid process and anterior abdominal wall in the median plane. Diaphragm on the each side. Falciform ligament is attached on the anterior surface a little to the right of median plane. Superior surface is related to diaphragm that separates the liver from pleura and lungs. Middle part of the superior surface shows the cardiac impression and that is separated from the pericardium by the central tendon of the diaphragm. Right surface is related to diaphragm and 7th to 11th ribs. In the mid-axillary line, it is separated by the diaphragm from lungs and pleura in the upper one-third, right costodiaphragmatic recess in the middle one-third, and 10th and 11th rib in the lower one-third. And posterior surface presents these features. Bare area of the liver related to diaphragm. Group for IVC lodges the IVC caudate lobe related to superior recess of lesser sac. Fissure for ligamentum venosum and esophageal impression on the posterior surface of the left lobe. Inferior surface have these impressions: gastric impression, shallow impression or inferior surface of left lobe of liver. Tuberomental rounded elevation comes in contact with lesser omentum. Fissure for ligamentum teres, quadrate lobe related to pyloric end of stomach and first part of duodenum, quadrate lobe. Fossa for gallbladder lodges the gallbladder. Colic impression related to right colic flexure. Duodenal impression, superior duodenal flexure, junction of first and second part is related to upper part of fossa for gallbladder and adjoining part of right lobe. Renal impression, part of inferior surface posterior to the colic impression is related to right kidney. And porta hepatis is a horizontal fissure between the quadrate and caudate lobe of liver, gives passage to right left branches of hepatic artery, portal vein and right and left hepatic ducts. Here is the porta hepatis. Okay, duct, artery, vein from anterior to posterior, and these are the impressions. Here is the esophageal impression. This is posterior surface. This is gastric impression, tuberomental. Here is the pyloric impression. Here is duodenal impression, colic impression, right colic flexure is related here, right renal impression, suprarenal impression. Okay, caudate lobe, quadrate lobe, porta hepatis, fossa for gallbladder, fissure for ligamentum teres, fissure for ligamentum venosum, IVC group, the bare area. Okay. So these are the visceral relation: gastric, duodenal, colic, renal impressions, tuberomental, fissure for ligamentum teres, quadrate lobe related to pylorus, first part of duodenum, fossa for gallbladder, porta hepatis. Next we are going to the blood supply, lymphatic drainage and nerve supply. Liver has dual blood supply. It receives its 20% of blood from hepatic artery, that is oxygenated blood, and rest portal vein receives, liver receives 80% of blood from the portal vein. This distribution you must remember, important for Viva and MCQ. 20% from hepatic artery, 80% from the portal vein. And this is nutrient rich venous blood, portal blood. Venous drainage, most of the blood from the liver is drained into inferior vena cava by three large hepatic veins, left, middle and right. Next is the lymphatic drainage. There are superficial lymphatics, deep lymphatics. Superficial lymphatics run on the surface of the liver beneath the peritoneum and terminate in caval, hepatic, paracardial and celiac nodes. And deep lymphatics drain partly in the nodes around the end of IVC and partly in the hepatic nodes. And nerve supply, liver is supplied by sympathetic fibers and parasympathetic fibers. Sympathetic fibers are derived from the celiac plexus and they run along the vessels in the free margin of right omentum and enter the porta hepatis. And parasympathetic fibers are derived from hepatic branch of anterior vagal trunk. And pain sensation produced by distension of liver capsule or hepatitis runs along the sympathetic fibers and gets referred to the epigastrium. Okay, so liver pain is referred to the epigastrium region. This is arterial supply, hepatic artery 20%, portal vein 80%. Venous drainage via 3 hepatic vein, total 6, upper 3, lower 3. IVC, lymphatic drainage, superficial lymphatic goes to hepatic nodes, celiac nodes. Deep lymphatics is going to caval nodes, hepatic nodes. Innervation, sympathetic innervation coming from celiac plexus, parasympathetic innervation coming from anterior vagal trunk. Next is development of liver. This will be discussed in your embryology. Okay, it does not come in theory mainly. Development of pancreas is important. Okay, as a part of long question, it can come as 1-2 marks question development. Okay, it develops from following resources. Endodermal bud forms the hepatocytes and intrahepatic biliary apparatus. And some part come in your MCQ questions. Septum transversum or mesoderm forms connective tissue of liver, including the fibrous capsule, Kupffer cells, blood vessels. Vitelline and umbilical veins form the sinusoids, and ventral mesentery forms the lesser omentum, falciparum, coronary, and triangular ligaments. So these are the development of different parts of the liver. Okay, see here, this is foregut. From here one bud is developing, that is liver bud, and it is branching and forming the whole liver. Okay, and from here another branch is cystic bud. Cystic bud is developing into gallbladder. And the peritoneal reflection over this developing liver tissue will form the false ligaments, and embryological remnants will form the true ligaments. These are some clinical aspects. Radial slope, it is downward. These are astro in fiber, radial slope. Okay, downward tongue-like extension of right lobe of liver. Often it is mistaken for abnormal abdominal mass and leads to surgery. Next is beaver tail river or silver of liver. It is a condition where elongated left lobe of liver reaches up to the spleen. Next is polycystic liver disease. It is a rare condition, results due to failure of union of intrahepatic biliary canaliculi and ductules with the extrahepatic bile duct. It results in formation of cyst within the liver, and it is frequently associated with polycystic kidney disease and cystic pancreas. And these are transmitted as autosomal dominant disorder, genetic disorder. Intrahepatic biliary atresia, failure of development of intrahepatic biliary system is a serious condition and can be treated only with liver transplantation. Next is Caroli's disease, involves congenital cystic dilatation or ectasia of the intrahepatic biliary tree. Next is congenital hepatic fibrosis. It is an inherited fibrocystic liver disease. Hepatic fibrosis produces portal hypertension. Okay. Next is one lobe or part of the lobe of liver may be absent and extra lobe may be present. These abnormalities can also occur, and complete liver may be rudimentary in some cases, and ectopy liver tissue may be present in the lesser omentum. Okay. These are other abnormalities. Histology of liver is also important. Histology we will discuss in the histology class. Okay. These are hepatic lobules, centrally central vein. These are the hepatic cords. In between the cords, these white areas are the sinusoids. And this is portal triad. Okay, you will get branches of the portal vein, hepatic artery, and the bile canaliculi, bile ducts. Okay, hepatic triads have been enlarged here. This is portal vein. This is branch of hepatic artery, bile duct. Okay. So regarding this, okay, so Histology of liver, it is covered by connective tissue capsule, Gleason's capsule, and it is formed of classical hepatic lobules, hexagonal in shape. Center there is central vein, and cords of hepatocytes are arranged radially, and hepatocytes are large polygonal cells with large central nucleus. Portal triads are formed of branch of portal vein. It has irregular lumen, simple squamous epithelium. Branch of hepatic artery, circular lumen, simple squamous epithelium. And intralobular bile duct, circular lumen with simple cuboidal epithelium. And there are hepatic sinusoids lined by discontinuous endothelium, Kupffer cells, and discontinuous basal lamina. These are some clinical aspects. Palpation of liver you have to do during your clinics. Okay. So at the infrasternal angle, liver is accessible for clinical examination. It is normally not palpable because of the softness of liver and tone of the rectus abdominis muscle. The liver enlarges downward towards the right iliac fossa. Enlarged liver may become palpable. Okay. So during palpation of patient, you will not normally you will not feel the liver. If it is enlarged in some disease condition, then only you can feel the liver. Liver biopsy, where it is done, to avoid injury to the lung during liver biopsy, needle may be passed through 9th or 10th intercostal space at mid-axillary line during the forced expiration. Okay. Forced expiration, now lung will be contracted upward, so there is less chance of injury to the lung. And this comes in your explained why, where the liver biopsy is done and why. Okay. And also the palpation of liver. Liver is palpable in normal condition, and when it is palpable like this can come in your explain why. So the needle travels through skin, subcutaneous fat, intercostal muscle, pleural cavity, and peritoneal cavity. Okay, and this is liver biopsy. And liver is the common site for metastasis or cancer. Cannonball metastasis occurs. Okay. Next is Pringle maneuver. Bleeding from the liver can be stopped by compressing the hepatic artery and portal vein at the free margin of lesser omentum, and these are major vessels supplying the liver. Next is liver transplantation. It is very common in end-stage liver disease, in cirrhosis of liver, in alcoholic patients, so or in hepatic carcinoma. It is useful to treat end-stage liver disease. Hepatocytes have regeneration capacity, hence donors will not get affected as well as donated hepatocytes grow in the recipient. Hepatitis, it is inflammation of liver, may be caused by viruses. Hepatitis A, B, C, D, E is there. Or bacterial infection or drug-induced infection can also occur. Cirrhosis of liver, in this condition, hepatocytes undergo necrosis or death and get replaced by fibrous tissue. It is produced by alcohol, drugs, chemicals, viruses, and autoimmune liver disease. Next is portal hypertension, increased resistance to the flow of portal blood through the liver, causing increased blood pressure in the portal vein. And cirrhosis or many other disease produce the portal hypertension. In portal hypertension, the portocaval anastomotic channels will dilate. We have discussed already. Next is Wilson's disease. It is an autosomal recessive disease of copper metabolism. Deficiency of copper transport protein due to mutation of this gene, ATP7B gene, results in deposition of copper in the liver. Okay, and also deposition of copper occurs in cornea. You will get specific ring in the cornea. During ophthalmology you will learn. And brain, causing cirrhosis of liver and neurological malfunctions. And hepatic coma and liver failure, in cases of large destruction of liver cells, there will be liver failure and liver cannot detoxify the material. Here is the palpation of liver along the inferior margin of liver have been shown. Okay. You are pushing the liver with this hand from posterior aspect, palpating below the costal margin, okay, near the sternum. Here, this is the normal position of the liver. And these are the position in different grade of enlargement. Mild, moderate, severe enlargement it enlarges towards the lower aspect, towards the right iliac fossa. Okay. In thalassemia patient, you will get large liver and spleen. Okay. And here is the liver biopsy, needle biopsy of the liver done at 9th or 10th, 8th or 9th intercostal space in forced expiration. Okay. Here lungs ends, here is the costodiaphragmatic recess is ending here, and needle is puncturing through skin, intercostal muscle, diaphragm up to the liver. Okay. And needle is entered through the mid axillary line. Okay, at 9th intercostal space. Next we are going to different gallbladder. Okay, gallbladder is a pear-shaped organ. This is gallbladder, blind-ended diverticulum or sac attached to the bile duct by the cystic duct. What are the functions of gallbladder? It performs this function. It helps in storage of bile, concentrate the bile by absorbing water, and release of bile into the duodenum on stimulation of cholecystokinase. This is a hormone, and absorption of small amount of bile salt cholesterol complex. What is the location? It lies in the fossa for gallbladder, which is located at inferior surface of right lobe of liver. And fossa for gallbladder extends from porta hepatis to the inferior border of the liver, and it is connected with the liver by the connective tissue. Next we are going to the dimensions and capacity. Capacity is about 30 to 50 ml. Okay. Length is about 7 to 10 centimeter. Width is about 3 centimeter. And these are the parts of gallbladder. It is divided anatomically into fundus, body and neck. Okay. Fundus is the expanded free end of gallbladder, projects beyond the inferior border of liver, comes in contact with anterior abdominal wall at the tip of 9th costal cartilage. This is asked in your surface marking, fundus of the gallbladder. Okay. Relations, peritoneal relation. Fundus is entirely covered by the peritoneum, and general relations, anteriorly lies the parietal peritoneum covering the anterior abdominal wall at the level of tip of 9th costal cartilage. Posteriorly lies the transverse colon. Okay. Here is the next is body of gallbladder. This is body of gallbladder, extends from fundus to the neck, and it is directed upward, backward and to the left to join the neck at right end of the porta hepatis, and it has two surfaces, superior surface and the inferior surface. Superior surface is in contact with inferior surface of right lobe of liver, and it is devoid of peritoneum and separated from the liver by thin layer of connective tissue. Inferior surface is covered by peritoneum and related to transverse colon and first part of duodenum inferiorly. Next is neck of the gallbladder. There is a one pouch, Hartmann's pouch. It is located at neck of the gallbladder. This is important during gallstone operations. Okay, so it is a narrow part. Neck is the narrow part of gallbladder, connects the body with the cystic duct. This is through the cystic duct, bile is draining into the common hepatic duct. So it is a narrow part of gallbladder, connects body with the cystic duct. Junction of neck with the cystic duct is marked by a constriction, and direction of neck forms S-shaped curve. Okay, and it runs upward and forward, and then turns downward and backward. Upward and forward, then downward and backward. Okay. Relation, neck is related inferiorly to first part of the duodenum. Here is the first part of duodenum, and superiorly to the cystic artery and loose areolar tissue. Hartmann's pouch is occasional small diverticulum projecting upward and backward from the neck. And what is isthmus of gallbladder? This is the part of neck that gives attachment to the Hartmann's pouch, and gallstone may get lodged in the Hartmann's pouch. Mucous membrane of the neck shows spiral folding, and that prevents the bile flow within and out of the gallbladder. Next we are going to the cystic duct. See, here is the spiral foldings in the cystic duct, okay. And here will be the Hartmann's pouch. And these spiral foldings are also known as spiral valve of Hester, okay. So there is a valve present in the cystic duct, spiral valve of Hester. So cystic duct connects the neck of gallbladder to the common hepatic duct. Length is about 3 to 5 cm, okay. Course it runs downward and backward in the lesser omentum, joins with the common hepatic duct at acute angle to form the bile duct. And spiral valves of Hester, the interior of cystic duct shows spiral mucosal folds, and that forms 5 to 12 concentric valves called the spiral valves of Hester. Named after German anatomist, okay, Lorenz Hester. And this valve keeps the cystic duct open, and that allows the bile passage to the gallbladder. Next is common bile duct. Common bile duct, it has 3 parts. It comes in your short note, okay? Important short note. You have to know the 3 parts, their relations, where they are draining, all this. Common bile duct, this part. The cystic duct, common hepatic duct joining to form the common bile duct. It has 3 parts, supraduodenal part, above the duodenum, posterior to the duodenum, retroduodenal part, below the duodenum, infraduodenal part. Infraduodenal part is joining with the main pancreatic duct and draining at major duodenal papilla through the ampulla of Vater. Okay. So common bile duct is formed by junction of cystic duct and common hepatic ducts near the porta hepatis. Length is about 6 to 8 cm. And the course of the common bile duct is divided into these 4 parts: supraduodenal, retroduodenal, infraduodenal or pancreatic part. Another is intraduodenal, within the wall of the duodenum. So supraduodenal part is about 2.5 cm long. Here descends in the right free margin of lesser omentum, lies on the right to the proper hepatic artery and anterior to portal vein. Retroduodenal part descends behind the first part of the duodenum. Here it lies on the right to the gastroduodenal artery, anterior to the portal vein. An infraduodenal part, it runs in the groove on the upper and lateral part of the posterior surface of pancreas, and it is sometimes completely embedded in the pancreatic tissue. And here it lies in front of the inferior vena cava, and from which it is separated by a thin layer of pancreatic tissue. It is accompanied on its left side by the gastroduodenal artery, which gives origin to superior pancreaticoduodenal artery. And the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery crosses the bile duct either anteriorly or posteriorly. Near the middle of the second part of duodenum, it comes in contact with the pancreatic duct. Then starts the intraduodenal part, when the two ducts are coming together. It lies within the wall of the second part of duodenum, enters the posteromedial surface of the duodenum. In the wall, it joins with the main pancreatic duct to form the hepatopancreatic ampulla of Vater, and through the ampulla of Vater opens in at the major duodenal papilla in the second part of the duodenum. These are the relations covered. Supraduodenal part is covered in the free margin of the lesser omentum, posteriorly portal vein, on the left proper hepatic artery. Retroduodenal part anteriorly first part of duodenum, posteriorly IVC, on the left gastroduodenal. Infraduodenal part anteriorly head of pancreas, posteriorly IVC, on the left portal vein, and superior mesenteric vein infraduodenal part. And inferior portal vein and superior mesenteric vein. Next, we are going to intraduodenal part. It fuses with the main pancreatic duct to form ampulla of Vater in the wall of the duodenum. Okay, that's all. So those are the different parts of common bile duct. Okay, you prepare it as a short note. Okay, so for liver, you prepare for theory the ligaments of the liver, factor keeping the liver